Hello, everyone, and welcome to our final vocabulary lesson. And this one is on the terms from the play by Tennessee Williams called The Glass Menagerie. So here we go. The first word, abashed, means to be embarrassed or ashamed. And you could say that there are times in the play where Laura is abashed or ashamed or embarrassed of her behavior, or she's just simply too crestfallen or frightened to take charge of anything. An archetype is something that serves as a model. For example, in senior year, you'll be talking about the archetype of the hero. They seem to follow a certain journey. They have mentors along the way. It's an archetype. It's something that serves as a model for something. And Jim O'Connor is the archetype of that thing we wish for in our lives. To avert homework or to avert your eyes from a scene is to turn them away. To turn away from something or to turn aside from something. To avert danger, he swerved the car. Beau is a suitor, a man with whom one has a romantic relationship. For example, all of those 17 callers that Amanda talks about on Blue Mountain would be called a series of beaux. A suitor, a man who is a romantic interest. The next word, you could see the word candle within, and a candelabrum is just a holder, a branched candlestick holder. Amanda will hand that candelabrum to Jim and tell him to go into the other room and keep Laura company. Amanda is also wearing a cloche hat. It's kind of out of date. It's a close-fitting hat that adheres to the sides of your, by your ears. It's not super fashionable, at least in the time period that Amanda is living, but it was something more from the past. A conglomeration of things is a mixture. Okay, when you talk about a conglomeration, it's combining a combination of miscellaneous things. If you are in disarray, a state of disarray, you're in a state of untidiness. Maybe this is right after lunch and your tie is askew, or, something, your buttons are a little bit off. It's a state of untidiness. The word elegy is the root word of something that is elegiac. And an elegy is a poem that's about death, usually. So elegiac is anything expressing sorrow. Very often it's sorrow about the past, To emulate someone is to imitate them. Strive to emulate your older brother, to imitate. And endowment is a natural gift or ability or quality. I know my children have many beautiful endowments, says Amanda. A fiasco is a complete failure. What a fiasco that trip was. It was a complete failure. We know a person who is a fugitive is someone who is on the run from the law. Someone who is sought by law officers. He's on the run if he's a fugitive, perhaps. To gesticulate is to move around, move your arms, move your legs, anything that means an expression, to show or express through movement. So sometimes when people get mad, they'll gesticulate their hands and they'll move their arms. It's to show some kind of feeling through movement. When someone is homely, they're ugly. Amanda's afraid that she doesn't want Jim too handsome, but she also doesn't want him downright homely. The implacable fires of human desperation burn in the tenement where the Winfields live. When we say implacable, it means those fires of human desperation cannot be quenched. They cannot be satisfied. From time to time, Amanda will accuse Tom of being indolent or lazy. Mastication is chewing. She criticizes Tom about mastication, the way he chews his food. A motley group is a haphazard assortment of things. When someone is nimble, it means they are either physically or mentally flexible. So you could say mentally quick is nimble. Or in physical sense, you could say that they are flexible. If someone is the paragon of virtue, paragon would mean the finest example of something. I'm sure you can think of a simile for this. A synonym for this. The finest example of something. The epitome. Pronounce that with the sound of E at the end. Not epitome, but epitome. He's the epitome of courtesy. And if you're experiencing perturbation, you're experiencing agitation, irritation. You're upset about something, right? Perturbation. And then we move on to our last page. Pleurosis, that's the word that Jim mistakes for blue roses. This is an inflammation of the lungs. This is what Laura suffers from one time in high school, and he misinterprets that and calls her blue roses. To precipitate, your actions will precipitate certain consequences. To precipitate is obviously rain, but we don't mean it in this sense, is to cause to happen. To cause to happen suddenly. Proscenium is actually a term from drama, and the proscenium on a stage is the space between the curtains and the orchestra. The stage, really. This is part of the stage directions in the play that they will approach on the proscenium. To be querulous is to be argumentative. And I know that you've seen the word satire before. Satire is the use of irony, wit, and sarcasm in order to mock something with the intention of inspiring reform. So when someone is satirical, they are being sarcastic, they are being mocking, or acting in a mocking manner. Someone who is marked by sarcasm, right? To have a spasm is an involuntary muscle contraction. To go into spasms from the cold, perhaps. A specter is a ghost, a phantom. The ghost of Mr. Winfield haunted the apartment, even though he was long gone. And speaking of apartments, a tenement is a rundown apartment or an apartment building. That's where they live. Okay, translucent is able to see through. able to permit light to pass through. Tribulation is a catastrophic event. Something that is tribulation is some difficulty or adversity. Turgid is swollen or distended. For example, a river could get turgid when it's springtime and the waters have melted from the mountains. The snow has melted, so the water could become turgid. And unobtrusive is what Laura was in high school, and she was not noticeable. She did not stand out at all. And so there you have it, the last set of vocabulary words from the third trimester.